Hi everyone, we're going to get started in a few minutes. I'm just going to leave another minute for the last remaining few people to arrive. All right, so we're going to get started now. So hi everyone, my name is Sophie and I'm part of the customer success team based in Toronto. Thank you for taking the time to join us for today's introductory webinar. During today's webinar, you will learn how Umapped is helping leading global brands and travel advisors engage with their customers throughout their entire travel journey. By using our collaborative experience platform, you can deliver interactive, branded, consolidated mobile proposals and itineraries with relevant content and messaging for your clients. You'll also see how the platform maximizes productivity and streamlines your business workflow. During today's 40-minute webinar, we'll start with an overview of the client experience, taking a look at how your clients will receive and view their trips online via the mobile app and as a PDF. Next, we'll demo Umapped's online trip building platform for travel professionals called the Trip Publisher. And we'll finish today's webinar with a review of the training resources and the support available to you, making sure to save some time at the end for a live Q&A. Before we begin, I want to make sure that you have access to a complimentary trial. If you haven't already signed up for a trial, visit umapped.com/trial. Click on the Sign Up button located at the top right corner of the page, and then complete the trial form. After submitting your request, our customer success team will send you a confirmation email with your account credentials and login instructions. So let's begin our live demo by reviewing the client experience. When ready, your client's trips are delivered by email and are available in 3 formats. Clients can access their trips online, as a PDF, and via the Umapped mobile app. All formats of the trip are branded for you and include your company logo and contact details. This that I have in front of me right now is an example of the email that your clients will receive, giving them access to their trip. Your branding and contact details will be displayed at the bottom of the email, just below the View Your Trip button. This email is all your client needs to access their trip. They can click on the View Your Trip button to access the web view of their trip, as well as the trip PDF. Or they can click on the App Store or Google Play Store icons to download the Umapped mobile app. Let's start by taking a look at the web view. The View Your Trip button opens a dynamic trip link that can be bookmarked and accessed at any time. When your clients are accessing the web view for the first time, they will need to enter their email address to validate that they are a traveler on this trip. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly put my email in. The first things clients will see in their day-by-day itinerary is your branding right at the top. Your branding and contact information is displayed front and center. Below that, there is also a download button for the trip PDF, and there are 2 versions of this, a full PDF or a print-friendly option without any images. I'm going to download the PDF, and then I'm going to come back to it in a few moments. Your clients can view their day-by-day trip details and any important information that you have included in their trip. The amount of details or information in the trip is always up to you based on your clients and the type of trip. All of the photos that you see displayed here have been added from one of the many image libraries available in the trip publisher. We have hotel and cruise photos already preloaded for many properties and cruise lines, as well as a photo library licensed for commercial reuse. Also note this chat icon, which displays on trip segments. This is the messenger feature. When enabled, it allows for real-time chat and notifications, which your clients can access on the web and mobile app trip views. When your clients chat with you using the messenger, you will receive an email notification and can even reply from your email. You can also access chat messages from the trip publisher, and your reply will display into the chat window. This is also where your clients will receive day of flight notifications. You will notice the blue plus button located at the bottom right corner of the page. This is called the Traveler Collaboration feature that is available for both the web view as well as the mobile app. This allows your clients to build and personalize their trip details with information including dinner reservations, trip notes, or any other activities that they have booked on their own. While they cannot edit or delete any of the segments that you have added, it allows your clients to consolidate all of their information in one place with one consolidated view of their trip. Now we're going to look at the tabs up here in the toolbar. This Documents tab is where any supporting documentation for the trip is available. This can include PDF attachments like vouchers and e-tickets, destination content, and any other important travel information that your clients may need to reference. Beside that, the trip map will pinpoint all the destinations that your clients are traveling to. And there is also a trip calendar, where your clients can view all of the trip details on a calendar view with the option to sync to their personal Google Calendar, iCal, or Outlook calendar by selecting this Add to Calendar button. So going on to the trip PDF, the PDF provides a printable option for your customers who still prefer paper. There are 4 different design templates that you can select from in your preferences in the trip publisher, but I'll touch on that briefly later. So I'm just going to briefly change my screen to demonstrate the mobile app. Just a moment. So your clients have the option to download the Umapped mobile app from either the App Store or the Google Play Store so that they can view their trip on their smartphone while they're on the go or in destination. One of the great benefits of the mobile app is that trip details are available even when your client's phone is offline, meaning when they don't have Wi-Fi or any network connection. Additionally, if we go within a segment in my trip, so let's check the Crown Plaza St. Peter, they can view live weather reporting and access directions. Again, you will notice branding and contact details are always displayed at the top of the trip. All right, so let's go back to my main screen. So now that you can see where your clients will receive, I'm going to show you around the Trip Publisher, Umapped's trip building application for travel professionals. This is where you can build and edit proposals and itineraries. To log in, go to pub-trip.umapped.com/login and remember to bookmark this link for future visits. So just a moment. Once you're logged in, you will be taken to your dashboard. On the bottom left is where your account details will be displayed. If you click on your user details, a drop-down will appear and display My Account, Preferences, Plans, and Logout. For new users, I suggest selecting My Account to update your user profile information, as these are the details which are displayed in the client experience. This is also where you can change your password if you scroll towards the bottom. If you select your preferences, this is where you can update your account preferences, as well as some of the features that I described earlier, such as the Traveler Collaboration feature, Traveler Messaging, and if you look at the top, this is also where you can come to choose from the 4 different layouts for the PDF. So let's go back to Dashboard. On Dashboard, you can view all of the trips that you have created within My Trips. Your dashboard is also where you can search and access all of your trips. Depending on your plan type, you may also be able to view all of the trips that have been created by your company by selecting Company Trips. Selecting the filter icon on the top right corner gives you the option to filter through your active, future, and past dated trips, as well as your pending and published trips. Let's close that. Looking at these tabs at the top, the vendor and library tabs are covered in more advanced webinars and allow you to save profiles for various suppliers, as well as content for guides and other templated notes. And I would also like to highlight the support portal. By clicking on support, you can gain access to our online knowledge portal or send questions or feedback to our customer success team. So let's click on the Create Trip button at the top right corner of your dashboard to start the trip building process. So enter a name for your trip as well as travel start and end dates. So today I'm going to go with European Adventure for the Smiths with a start date of the 1st of October and an end date of the 13th. You also have the option to add trip tags, which is a great way to apply labels to your trip so that you can easily search for them on your dashboard later on. So if I work very frequently with European trips, I can tag this as Europe. And if I work frequently with the Smith family, I can also tag this as Smith. Once you're satisfied with everything on this screen, click Create Trip to save this new trip. On the main page of your trip, you will see a large gray thumbnail image. So we're going to click on this image to add our cover photo. We always recommend adding a cover photo as this is the background image that displays in the traveler email, as well as the different formats of the client experience that we just reviewed. And there are a couple different ways for adding a photo. The first is by searching the image library. This is a free library of licensed images that is available to all users. The second is searching the web, where you just need to key in a keyword as well as a website URL that will allow you to find photos, such as unsplash.com, for example. And the third option that we have is uploading your own photo. For our sample today, I'm going to search the web by entering a keyword. So I'm going to enter Spain and then use Unsplash to search for a photo. In just a second, we're going to wait for these to pop up and then select one. Okay, so we're going to go with this photo right here and then select Upload Photo. So in today's demo, I'm going to highlight how you can easily consolidate bookings from a variety of integrated systems like Sabre and Clientbase, as well as how to import from partnered suppliers. We'll also demo how to create your own trip segments and finally, how to share or send a trip to your travelers. So let's start by looking at this left-hand navigation menu over here. So Import Bookings is where you can access the different system integrations that are available to you. This is where you can import your GDS PNRs, your client-based res cards, and access any booking confirmation emails that you have forwarded into the trip publisher. You can also import from Sabre TripCase, Travelport, and WorldSpan by selecting PNR Import, which is right beside Booking Inbox. If you use Sabre, we have a direct integration allowing you to queue your PNRs to the trip publisher. Your PNRs can be retrieved from the booking inbox and then added to any trip. And here's how it works. I'm going to enter my sample PNR into the keyword box and then click on Search. You can select the drop-down arrow in order to view details of the PNR, and then select the ellipses, which are the 3 vertical dots, and click Add to Trip. This PNR contains flights and accommodations only, but anything that has been booked in Sabre will be imported, formatted, and then ordered chronologically. The best part of this integration with Sabre is that anytime you make a change to the PNR in Sabre, all you have to do is re-queue it to the trip publisher and your trip will automatically update. And if you need to view or edit information within a specific segment, simply click on View Details at the bottom right corner of the segment, and then a right drawer will open. You can now view all segment information. In this flight segment, I can view the passenger details by clicking on Passengers. And then when hovering over the top right corner, I can click on the pencil icon if I want to further edit, or the trash icon if I want to delete something. So let's close this drawer and go back to Booking Inbox. The client-based integration is a very similar workflow. Your res cards are also accessible via the Booking Inbox. Simply enter the res card number in the keyword field, click search, and then follow the same steps as demonstrated when adding my Sabre PNR. For both Sabre and client-based integrations, there is an initial setup that is required. So if you want to learn more about how to get this set up for your company, please contact our customer success team for further instructions following this webinar. If you use Galileo, Apollo, or Worldspan, you can import your PNRs by entering the PNR and the lead passenger last name under PNR import, and then clicking on import. It is important to note that this is not a direct integration to your GDS, and any PNRs imported via this method will not be automatically updated when there are changes. At any point, if you need to go back to your main page during the trip building process, simply click on Trip on the left-hand navigation menu and you will be brought back into your trip. So we're going to continue looking at some of these options here in the left-hand navigation menu, going next to suppliers. So suppliers is where you can import bookings or content from a list of partnered tour operators or DNCs. How each integration works varies slightly by supplier, so we're going to use Insight Vacations for today's example. So simply enter a destination or the name of a tour or itinerary. So I'm going to look up London, and then click on Search. Just going to give it a second. So all of the tours that match your search will be displayed, and from here you can view the tour details by selecting Details. I'm going to close that. And then if you're satisfied with this, click on Import just next to that to add the tour to your trip. For some suppliers, such as Classic Vacations, you'll be required to enter your username, password, and your client's booking reference number to import their trip details. So again, it really varies by the supplier. Moving on to destination content. Umapped is partnered with FAR and W Cities, giving you access to curated guides and recommendations for over 500 destinations around the world. For a FAR, you can either add destination guides or specific recommendations. Select from the list of trip destinations or click on Search by City Name to enter a destination. I'm going to select London and then click on Search. From there, click on Add to Trip, and there we need to select a date. I always prefer to add these larger destination guides to the end of my trip, so I'm going to select the 13th of October and then click on Add to Trip. For W Cities, perfect success. For W Cities, select a destination and content type from the source drop-down menu. So I'm going to click on Barcelona this time, and then click Search. So select the checkbox to the right of the content that you wish to include for W Cities, and then click on Add to Trip. And then again, we have to select a date. So this time I'm going to select the 5th of October, and then Add to Trip. There are several different ways that you can attach PDF, Word, or library documents to a trip. The first is by selecting Supporting Documents from this left-hand navigation menu. Select File Attachments, and then click the Attach File button. I'm going to add a sample voucher for my desktop, and then click Attach File. Just going to give it a second. Perfect. So if you need to preview or remove your document, click on this ellipses, the 3 vertical dots, for more options. You can create, store, and manage your own content within your library from within Content from Library. For our sample today, I will add a city guide from Barcelona. So we're going to click on Add Document and then key in Barcelona. And this was previously created in my company. So I'm going to select the checkbox to the right of the one that I wish to include and then select Add Document. You can also add a supporting document right from within your trip page, so your clients can easily access it when viewing their trip in both the web and mobile version. So I'm going to select Trip to head back to the main page. And then I'm going to click on View Details for the particular segment that I want to attach my supporting PDF or Word document to. So we're going to scroll to the bottom of this right drawer and then select Attach File. And then we're going to click on Upload a File. So again, I'm going to add an e-ticket for this particular one and then select Attach File again. So once you've added your document, you can click on Files and hover over the bottom right to preview or to delete your document. Perfect. So moving along, click on Calendar from the left-hand navigation menu for a calendar view of the trip. And this, Trip Settings, is where you can view and edit trip details. You can select the ellipses to edit the trip information, to delete or duplicate a trip, and the audit log just beside trip details up here is where you can view a history of actions for a particular trip. So let's head back to our main page. On the bottom right corner of the trip, you can click this blue plus button to create your own segments or to add cruise content and trip notes. We have thousands of vendor profiles within Trip Publisher for accommodations and cruises that include photos, addresses, and contact information. So let's start by adding a hotel in Rome. So select accommodation and then search for your hotel. I'm going to add the Rome Cavalieri Waldorf Astoria from October 7th until the 13th. This hotel already has a vendor profile created that includes information about the hotel and photos of the property, as you can see as I scroll here. Simply add your check-in and check-out dates and times. So I'm just going to change the times really quickly to something more appropriate, and then select Add to Trip. And there we go. To add a cruise, click the blue plus button again, and then select Cruise. Enter the ship name, the sailing month and year, and then click the Find Cruise button at the bottom right corner. So I'm going to search for the Norwegian Epic, October of 2019, and then select Find Cruise. So you can pick your cruise itinerary, sailing date, and then click Add Cruise when you'd like. You can even select this drop-down arrow here to see the itinerary for that particular cruise. I'm not going to add this, but there we go. You can also add a trip note. This feature allows you to add customized notes for your clients that can include detailed links, photos, and embedded videos. For our sample trip, I will add a bon voyage message for my clients. Simply select Note from the blue plus button, and then add a title. So let's say, have a fantastic trip. Perfect. Dates and times are optional depending on the note that you are adding. And then we're going to add our details. Perfect. So you can select Hide Note if you want to make the note internal for you or someone that you are collaborating on a trip with. These private notes are only visible in the Trip Publisher and won't appear to your travelers. So I'm going to add this to my trip. Great. At any time during the trip building process, you will have the opportunity to publish a trip by selecting the Publish button at the top right-hand corner of your page. Once a trip is published, it is live and all formats of the client experience will be available. This meaning the web, PDF, and mobile versions. When publishing, you also have the option to leave a note that will display in the traveler email, or you can go ahead and just publish the trip. So I'm going to publish this now. This trip is dynamic, so you always have the option to make any edits or changes later. If there are any significant updates, always remember to republish the trip by clicking Republish in the top right-hand corner, so that any changes will be reflected on your client's view. If we scroll back to the top, you will notice a few icons that are displayed to the right of your trip name and dates. You can click the Share icon located at the top of the trip to invite collaborators and to add your traveler emails. You can invite a collaborator or add your traveler by selecting this icon. The Collaborator feature allows you to share your trip with other travel professionals, such as suppliers, DMCs, vendors, and tour operators. So I'm going to select that icon and then click on Travelers. This is what brings me to my traveler page. From here, click on the Add Traveler button, and then add your client's details, including their email address, first name, and last name, and then select Add Traveler. Once you've added your traveler, your clients will receive a personalized, branded email with all the information they need to access their trip. And this is the exact same email that I showed at the very beginning of this webinar. So let's go back to our trip to look at some of the other icons that were there previously. So just beside the share icon, this preview icon, located to the right of that, allows you to access the web view and both versions of the PDF. And to the very end of that, you can click on the pencil icon if you ever wish to edit your trip name or dates or tags. So we have reviewed various versions of the client experience, including the web, PDF, and mobile versions, highlighting some benefits and features for the clients, as well as how to build a trip in the new trip publisher experience. Reviewing popular integrations throughout our trip building process like Sabre, client base, suppliers, as well as destination and cruise content and vendor profiles. You should now be familiar with how to create a trip, but we also have some tools that will help you along the way. Our support portal, which you can access at pub-support.umapped.com, is where you can access a Getting Started guide, as well as step-by-step tutorials for all of the integrations and features that we have covered today. We also highly encourage you to sign up for our live Q&A session that is hosted bi-weekly, meaning every Tuesday and Thursday, by our customer success team, as well as more advanced webinars, which dive deeper into the trip publisher features. If you have any suggestions for future topics that you would like to see covered, please email us at support@umapped.com. I'll also be sharing a recording of today's webinar so that you can review it again on your own time if you need to go back and look over any of the segments that we have just covered. So for anyone that can't stay for the live Q&A, I just want to say thank you for joining us for today's introductory webinar. And as I said, I'll be reaching out to all of you after this in order to send you some additional resources and links, as well as a recorded version of this webinar. And thank you for your time. All right, so we're going to get started on the live Q&A. So I'm going to wait a couple of seconds to see if anyone has any questions. And if not, I do have some topics that I can always go over without needing to be prompted. Okay, so one question that we get asked pretty frequently, I'm going to go back into my trip, is how can I move the segments around within the trip? So this means that, let's take this note right here at the top of my trip. If I wasn't satisfied with having this at the very top of my trip and I'd rather have it towards the middle or at the very end of my trip for reflection, there are a variety of different ways that I can go about moving this. So one of the first and easiest ways is by clicking the View Details button right here on the segment itself. Right beside the first of the tags, I should say, is a calendar tag. this, by clicking Change Calendar, allows you to select a new date from within that trip. So I can go ahead and move my note to any date available here. So let's go ahead and move the note to the 13th, which is the last day of my trip, and then click Add to Trip. As you can see, let's scroll to the bottom of my trip. I've now moved it to the very end, although there is another booking that is on the 13th of October. So if I really wanted to put this note at the very end, for bookings that are made on the same day, so for this note and the flight segment, which are both on the 13th of October, I can actually grab and drag this note and it'll reorder within the trip. I can do this only with bookings that have been made on the same day, so I can even do it, let's say, with this flight segment and my AFAR guide by moving those two. Perfect. So yeah, that's two different ways. But we also have this calendar from the left-hand navigation menu. So this only works with actual flights and actual segments. So notes you cannot move via this method. But let's say for the Rome Cavalieri Waldorf Astoria, I actually wanted to move it over by 2 days. I can additionally drag and drop this to the 9th. And if I go back into my trip by selecting Trip, let's go down to the 9th of October. You can see that my check-in for the Rome Cavalieri is now on the 9th rather than on the 7th. So those are 3 different methods for moving segments within a trip. So I'm just going to go over that really quickly again for anyone that didn't catch that. I can either go within my segment and, let's go back on the note, where is it? Here. I can go within the segment and click the calendar icon. For bookings on the same day, I can rearrange them by dragging and dropping in the trip. Or in the calendar right here, I can go ahead and move any of my bookings by dragging and dropping here. There we go. All right, so another question that we frequently get asked is how to add a page from a document from our library into a trip. So let's start by going into my library. As you can see, I'm not 100% aware of how familiar everyone is with the library, so I'll try to keep this as detailed as possible. These are all documents that have been created by either myself or someone within my company. And within each of these documents are various pages. So let's go back into my trip and let's explore how to add one of those pages into my trip. So we can do that by selecting Destination Content from the left-hand navigation menu and then clicking on Add from Library, which is right after W Cities. Now we're just going to have to add a keyword in. So let's do Barcelona. And then click on Search. And these are all pages from the documents within my library. So once I've decided which of these pages I'd like to add into my trip, I can click on this copy icon right beside, and it has been added to my trip. So let's go back into my trip. And as you can see, it's been added to the very top of my trip because we didn't have to select a date. So as I explained before, there's a couple different ways that we can move this. We can click on View Details, and then the calendar icon. And then let's say I want to add this to the 5th. Click Add to Trip. And now we can scroll down and see that the city blurb has been added to the 5th of October. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to leave another minute for any additional questions. Okay, well, there's no more questions, so I want to thank everybody for coming to today's introductory webinar. As I said, I'm going to be reaching out to each of you after this with an email that will include a link to a recorded version of this webinar, as well as some additional support and some additional training for anyone who might be interested in taking one of our more advanced webinars or looking at our support portal. But I just want to thank everyone for joining me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And feel free to reach out to us at support@umapped.com if you have any questions about today's webinar or any other questions regarding your account. Thanks so much. Take care.